Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rasha and we are playing KSB 1.41. So today we are actually watching one of my creations that has taken me, I think I worked over 4 days. I think I probably put in like 6-8 hours on this design, which I call the Science Tower. What's special about this design is that it has a very long range in vacuum, because it has around 8,000 meters, and this one is designed to be, we will go to a planet, orbit it, gather science, fly home to Kerbal. So it has we need a lot of Delta V to do that, and we're gonna use this in the upcoming going to Eve and doing just like that, going to Eve, get the science, get home. So yeah, so it's made for long range here. So we are using atomic engines here. One thing that's special about atomic engines is that they only use liquid fuels and oxidizer, which makes the ship fairly light, as this top heavy part is weighing down 53 tons, which is 53,000 kilos. So it's a fairly light thing here. And the top part here, our science tower, where I begin, has a mass of 4 tons. So, and it has place for 1 kerbal. And this is a Kerbal that will be a scientist, because let's see here. If we look over here, we have a remote guidance units that will do the flying for us. So we are dependent on getting a good signal to Kerbal for this to work. But the good thing is about that we can bring a science, and if you just take a science one, you can only use with the SOS, you can just use stable assist only. So you can't do any fancy things like to point into the prograde and so on with that. But we're gonna check that things more. One of the drawbacks of using atomic engines, even that we can make a fairly light weight craft here, is that the thrust to weight ratio is very low. As you can see here, I also stabilized there between these parts with struts, of course, otherwise that thing will be a problem. So yeah, it's better to show you guys. I will show you guys what I mean, and then you can get a feel for it. So we're gonna launch these things to orbit here. So let's just get rid of these parts for now. We don't need them. So here we are at the launch pad. I will once again cheat here because I want to show you guys a couple of things. Okay, so let's just get up in the air so I can show you guys what I mean about long burn times. It's always better to just... Oh, that is 12,000. We need to be... What? Simple. Okay, apply. Okay, critical failures. Yeah, I really didn't look at the digit here. It looks like we are in a spin here. We lost our top part of our ship here. Let's see if we can... I will just activate our thing here. So have we lost any weight here? Yes, we lost a little bit weight. Yeah, but I think it should be more enough if I show you guys here. Let's get... So let's go over to the map mode and add a maneuver. And we will pretend that we are going 1800 Delta V here. So what we want to do now is stage our engines. Okay, so now you can see the burn time here. I'm just demonstrating this for the burn time purpose. As you can see, it's 13 minutes. And you can see how slowly... Okay, now we are not pointing in the maneuver, but if we spin over, let's activate the area RCS here, so let's spin over here. I think I broke my monothrusters, yeah, by my cheating here, so Okay, cool. So let's, as you can see here, I'm burning just about the delta V per seconds here with this engine, so there is not a lot of thrust. And one thing you can do with this rocket, as you can see, the total delta V is super high. If you remove one of the atomic motors, and just have one, you lose about 3 tons weight, and you get a thrust weight which is half of this, so it will take us around 26 minutes to burn 1800 delta V, which is about an Eve transfer year. It will actually take like 22 minutes, so yeah, it's a long burn, but you can see it's quite tiny for that kind of range, so yeah, it's something to think about. But if I had to build this part in with the normal liquid engine, as the ISP is around 800 of these engines in vacuum, which make their mileage so good. The other engines is around 350, so it's almost double. You get almost a double range with the same fuel weight as a normal vacuum engine, so that's why it's cool. But as you can see, the thrust weight ratio is not that cool. So if I just do like a simple maneuver here, you know, here I'm just gonna show you how long time. It's kind of like putting your thrust limiter on your liquid vacuum engine to 20%. That is, and I still have 2 of these guys. So, and as you can see, even burning full speed, it takes a long time for me to get that number down. So yeah, I just want to demonstrate that, so you really know what the drawbacks. But the range is fantastic. It's actually so good with 8000 delta V in this small package. Well, we are back here at the vehicle assembly building, and looking here at this. And one thing that is worth mentioning that I often sometimes do, especially with this rocket, as you can see, it's very tall there if we compare it to one of the orange tanks there. So one thing you want to do before you launch your rocket is to disable your reaction wheels. I'm gonna do it now because I think I forgot it. It was already disabled. Yes, so if you disable that, otherwise it will be like that when you go to the thick part of the atmosphere here at Kerbal and you do course adjustments, these reaction wheel will react and try to help out, and that will make the whole rocket very unstable, which is not a good thing when we have a very tall rocket here, which we depend on our fins and rockets, swivel gimbal rockets here to correct our course. So if we start what will happen is that it will wobble, the whole tower will wobble, it will bend, and that will, yeah, it can be a problem. So but you have to remember to react them, activate them once you are in space again, because then you want them here. And I think I want to do a small adjustment to my rocket while we are working in here, as we have some monofrosters here. I think I want to add some monofrosters here, and the reason for that is when this one is spinning, I want some help, and it would be a little bit easier if we have some monofrosters here too, because then we have at the both ends here. So let's see, let's go to force symmetry. The only thing that is bothering me here is that we have some struts here blocking our style, and I think I want to have them in the same orientation like they are there, but the reason why I didn't put them there like there, because it will be there. I didn't want to block that door too much. So let's see. We could add them. The thing is, if I add them here, it will not be helpful. I could move the struts, but I don't want to. Okay, let's make a compromise. Yes, it is a compromise. We will not pretend that it is clipping. I don't like to do it like that, but yeah. So one thing I also did for stabilizing this whole thing, because the heaviest part, if we look at stage 7 here is around here. This stage, let's see, 8, yeah. You can see this stage here weighs a lot of let's see, 232. Yeah, as you can see, the heaviest stage is over here, so we have all the power here, so I added some struts here to our, what do we call it, protector shell? I can't... Fairing, yeah. So I added that to some extra stabilization, stabilize, otherwise it will want to tip over there, so the reason for that. And then I have more or less used airplane parts because they only have liquid fuel, because you don't need any oxidizer with the atomic motors, and that's why you can have a fairly small design too, because you don't have to carry about around the double of the weight. As you can see here, I emptied them out here, so we only have the liquid fuel parts here. If you wonder what part this is actually, let's see, yes, this is just the airplane that I have just put first. I've spin it around. I can do it again like this. I just spin it around until it fits, and then I put it in again. So yeah, that's how I made that. So that is not a special target. And behind it, I had some liquid fuse slits. And here we have, I've added some solar panels. The one that doesn't come with a protected case, which you can fold in and land with without destroying them. But this part will only see space. So yes, I saved a small amount of money going with those ones instead. Okay, so yes, so let's go up here, more closely here. So here we have the most important part I have here is our remote guidance unit, which, as this is designed for science purposes, we will put Charlene, our scientist, inside here, and she is not a pilot, so we will not have access to all the SOS things here. So we are dependent on this one, which means we are dependent on a good clear signal that is bouncing back to Kerbal to be able to control this craft very well. But we still have a Kerbal inside here that can do small adjustments, so but we will use some access to the SOS capabilities while using it. So under there I have just a heat shield, which is more than enough for field, and I've done test landings of this. Okay, I think we will do a test landing here. I worked a lot to make this a good lander. One of the problems was, yes, that this thing got hit. And the problem is that it is traveling very far. If we scroll up here, we can see I added 4 broke chutes here and 1 normal parachute here. And the problem is that we still go around 10 meters per second, which is why I added these patrons to act as a breaker before we hit the surface. And I think I will demonstrate this, but first of all, I want to show you guys what I mean about speed, why I care about that in this case. Let's see if I can find the lander can. There it is. So let's see if we can find it. Tolerance, we can hit around 8 meters per second impact. We can impact with the surface falling down when we are doing parachute work, and from the into the atmosphere down to the ground. Yes, I kind of worked my sentences out there, but yeah, when you're about to hit the impact, impact to the ground, it has a tolerance of 8 seconds, and some of these parts are probably, let's just pull something else. And that was interesting in our fuel duct has a 12 meters tolerance, and that one has a 6 meters tolerance. So yeah, you see the problem if I'm falling 10 meters per second. I made test landing, and that means that some stuff is breaking when I hit here. We will probably survive it, but yeah, we will survive it, but this will help us out, and I'm gonna show you how to use it. Well, here we are at the launch pad, so I'm gonna cheat again, just to make this exercise a little bit faster. So I will spawn ourselves around 20,000 meters up in the air, so we can demonstrate this thing here. So let's put ourselves in retrograde. Okay. Okay. This didn't work out so well. I think there is a big problem to insert yourself while you are 20,000 meters. That was a little bit hard. I just did that for saving time. Okay, let's. And as you can see, it's very important with this ship, as most of this part can't stand the heat of insertion, so it's very important, as usual, go on retrograde here, so our heat shield can take the heat instead of our parts. So let's really redo this. I've spawned ourselves this time around 20,000 meters, and so it should be a little, or 30,000 meters. So yeah, this time the heat wasn't that hard, as the atmosphere becomes thicker and thicker the closer to the ground you come. So yeah, it was too much for just to cheat myself in. And as you can see, it's totally safe here. Going here, I have tested this out by one way to get a lot of speed here into the atmosphere was that I have a super high apogee all the way, yes, almost outside the system, and then went down. It works really well here, so let's see here, let's go in retrograde here so we don't burn up any parts here. So yeah, as I have to get my speed down enough here to get down here. So yeah, we're currently just waiting for us to go down. It will take quite a while. Let's speed this up. Okay, so this is really good. We are currently losing speed here to more decent, also around now I can release my drogues here to cut my speed even more here. So around 250 I can go with my parachute safely, and it looks like we will have a landing on ground here, which is good. So I'm just gonna wait. I think I will just cruise here a bit, because it will save me time later, so I will activate my parachutes when we are around 10,000 meters instead. Because we are not going super fast here, so I'm fine with doing it in that way. So here now the problem, as you can see, when they will soon they will actually go out here, and you will see that our speed is around, with just the drogues, we are around 26 meters per second. And if you remember all my yapping about speeds here, you can understand we are going almost 3 times as fast as our part can take it if we hit the part here, but we have one more parachutes to break our speed a little bit more, so that will bring us about 10 meters per second when it has folded out all this way, and this is a little bit too fast. So I had a problem here that when I was landed, I got unpredictable landings, and that is not a really cool thing, because I want to save as many parts here so we get some money back when we are recovering, and also I don't want to, in a real scenario when I'm playing in my real missions, I don't like to cheat. I have all the testing in the world to do, then I have to do it for real. So I'm just making everything safer. So yeah, let's meet each other around 200 meters. So my solution was to get an extra break here. As you can see, we're traveling around 10-11 meters per second, which is 3 meters too long, but it's not a super disaster if it's happening. So, but I wanted to do that a bit safer, and also if I do this at sea, it also leaves the tower actually floating, pointing up, as long as I have my SIS activated. So what I've done is added these separatrons at the power thrust to weight ratio of 1.2, so we can slow that one. So I know I'm traveling around 10 meters, so around 50 meters I will activate them, and they will slow our speed. So it's almost time for that. Because they will burn for 7 seconds. Okay, I have to adjust that time for 40 meters instead, but you see what happened here this time, but I think that is what kind of happened, but that is a little bit unpredictable result that I don't really like, so that's why I've added on. And I think if I fire them too soon, I should probably just saved and then reload and do it at 40 meters again. Yes, I wanted to try that. Let's try that. You guys we will meet each other at 200 meters here again. I have to redo all this because I want this to work. And so one of the things that went wrong, I think, with my calculations here, that was about 1 second off. So if I now keep a track of that number and fire my separatrons at 40 meters, I think it will be safe enough for a better landing. Yeah, it can be a good thing before we do this for real in the upcoming episode here. The reason why I choose the separatrons, they doesn't weigh anything, and they are like boosters, so they are perfect for this kind of purpose. Okay, let's say 40 minutes. Okay, now let's see. Yeah. So 40 meters, perfect. Yeah, it worked. So 40 meters is more than enough, and yeah, that was. I can probably do it a little bit later than that, but so yes, let's go back to the vehicle assembly building. We are back here at the vehicle assembly building. I didn't save, let's see here. On my recording HUD is saved. Let's get it back here. So yeah, so we have added those modern thrusters again. Oh, my voice. After I have I don't remember. I think it's called Forex. I have a problem with that, and that makes my voice weird, even that I'm not sick. So yes. So what I've added here is the thing. I added some monopropellants that is for future builds, because I think I want to, in the future, maybe add a docking port or something like here, so we can fuel it up, as we only requires liquid fuel. That way it will be require almost half the fuel to launch up. If I do it from Kerbal, I can launch all that fuel off. And here we have the different, all the science would ever need here. So we have, I'll just show you guys that, and then we have one of these, and we have monopropellants here. And I added, of course, some lights, because I like to have that out in space, so the craft is not blending into the space. So what I also added, I added two of the Cometron, the best antenna you can have. I added two because it looks a lot cooler when you have two antennas. So it's not that's the reason why. It is more than enough to have one, but I want to have two because it looks cooler. I will show you guys that in space later here. So, and in here I just made room for stuff. If you want to have some room here, I have some room here. My commentary. Yes, this is a atmospheric fueled barometer, which I don't think I will ever need when we are up in space and do orbital science, but I added it anyway, just because, I don't know, maybe it works even in space. I'm not sure about that. So yes, we have the separatrons here. We can check out their settings here. They are the top of the top stage 1 here. And how I adjusted them was by messing about with the frost limiter here, so you can get the longer burn there. But you can get the longest burn you can get is here, around here. And that is for 34 seconds, but it has not a frost rate ratio of 0.24, which means it's not fast enough. So I had it around 1.2. So let's see, 60 and a half, I think I will put it on. So just the frost ratio of 1, so it slows us down. It will burn for 8 seconds. So yeah, that was a cheap way to brakes. And then I have reaction wheels here, which I told you guys before we will disable. I think I will disable this one too. It's already disabled, so let's disable. And the reason was because, like I said earlier in this episode, that, let's see, reaction wheels disable. Otherwise, this will become a very unstable structure. As it's so tall, it will bend and so on. Even that I have added a lot of struts here to make it very stable, it will present itself as a problem. And here we have the recyclable solar panels. And yeah, so we have 8 solar panels, and we have electric charge of 1000 here, electric charge of 1050. So yeah, that's more than enough for that. And we have all the science things we will need with this ship here. So it will be Charlene that is going to go for a long trip, but don't worry guys, I have installed Assassin's Creed Origins. That is her favorite game right now, so she can play that for a year or something, and then she will never want to play it again. So that was everything about this craft, I think. Let me think for a while. Oh yeah, I remember something. I set up a very simple action group here, because usually you see me fumbling about with the panels. That's because I'm too lazy to set up, as I'm talking about the solar panels and antennas and everything here, and I'm too lazy to set it up. And because, yeah, you have to do that. And this is not really hard. It's not because it's hard, it's because I'm lazy. So what we can do here, I'm gonna show you how to set this up. So what I have done here, I've done an action group to activate all my solar panels and extend my antennas. I'm gonna show you how to do that. I'm just gonna remove, I don't know how to remove things. Oh yeah, it's like this. Okay, cool, so we can do it again, so just because, yeah, if you don't know how to set up action groups, it's not super hard here. So let's select first. Let's start by going bottom and up. So here we have these solar panels cannot be folded in, so they will also always be folded in. So that's the only thing they can do is extend it. So I add it here, so now it's added for that. So let's go here. We want to go to our solar panels here. We want to extend them, and we want to have able to retract them, because if we press, which custom group 1 will be pressed, so you press the number 1 on your big part of it, not the numpad, but the other numeric one, you press 1. So if I press it twice, it means it will retract the antenna. So yeah, then you don't have to do that by yourself either. So, and then we can go to this one. So we will add this one to extend and retract. Cool, so we are now set up an action group, so let's see how it works in real life. So action groups is kind of cool because you can more or less have different actions. For example, if you don't use science, automatic science scatter, you can reset your science by a button press, and you just select them and select reset, and then you can reset them without having to click on them. So as you can see here, Oh, I'm pressing 2, so I was wondering why it's not working here. So everything is folding out here. As we can see, the lower is not a very good view. Let's do it like this. Let's be brave and go 500,000. We want to be far away from. So we are cheating ourselves. This will lead to this glitch because it's probably not what you're supposed to do. Yeah, so now we can see. Let's get rid of this. So now we have all the solar panels activated. So if I press 1 again, you can see that I set it up there so it will retract all of them. But it will not retract these solar panels because they don't have that function to do it. Is one use here. And that is the reason why I think if I built a much larger version of this, I will add a docking port so I can tank it up and then I can have everything. So I was thinking you can probably decouple this one. And then you can kind of have a docking port here, and then you can have interchangeable parts up for the upper part. This is a science, orbit science, but you can make a big, I think I want to build a big mothership that I will have in orbit in Kerbal, which I can attach landers to and all these functions. And as you can see here, it's working just by pressing 1, and I can fold it back right in for landing. So then that's save me exactly 6 clicks, or 10 clicks if we count that part here. So, and that's it. As you can see, this is the reason why I like to have some lights on my ship here, because I know everything looks kind of screwed up. But yeah, I like to have some lights here. So yes. So that was the full presentation of this one. I didn't build it from scratch, but I wanted to show the different functions and why I've made things here. I think we will stop with just the simple how I made the launcher. Well, here we are in the vehicle assembly building again, and here we have the launcher part. So it's a very simple one, and I think I want to build for, if you remember, I think it was the Dune episode, I built just a sub-assembly of launchers, and I didn't have to change anything. So that saved me all the time. So this one was more than enough to lift 50 tons. Let's see. 50 tons of this, my Interplanetary Science Orbiter. Yeah, Interplanetary Science Orbiter. Yeah, that was a good name for it. But the Science Tower. So now I messed with everything here. So I have to rebuild the fairing. We can do that. We can finish the episode with just that. So I have to find a place where it's green, so it lets me place out the fairing here. And if you go, as you can see the mass is actually updating, so this takes less mass. So we want it to be tight and tidy here. So this part, I think I want to go like this. But this will have, as you can see in the delta V meter, it will have an impact on your delta V because the mass is not huge, but you can save a little bit mass by doing it tightly here. I think this, like this, and I think after the antennas here, is there anything sticking out? No, so we can start to save some mass by going like this. Oh. For some reason my game is very laggy here. Okay. So let's do it like this. And look at that, so our fairing, we will have around 3700 delta V. Another thing that when we have such a low thrust to weight ratio, we can't do a tight orbit that I usually do around 85,000 meters. I will go out to around 200,000 because we will have a burn time around 12 minutes transferring to Eve. And what can happen is even that we have such a high orbit, it can take us all the way down to 100,000 orbit. So if we was in 85,000, we would be right inside the orbit. We will go right into the atmosphere of Kerbal, and then there will be no Eve transfer here. So what we can do here, one thing I also changed, because we don't need a lot of ejection force here of the fairing, and I have been, especially my sciencey stuff right here, if I have a high ejection force, it has been happening that it's messed something up there and break it. By setting an ejection force of 15, it will be very low. I think I once again want to demonstrate that. And so, you understand, I put a lot of thought into this rocket. It is my most well-built rocket so far, so I want to show you how it looks in space. So here we have separated with our launcher parts, and you can see the low ejection force in action here. It will not break anything, but it's safe to do also. As you can see, usually they just explode like bullets right out here, but now they are just floating away, and that is just how I want to like it. I think and in this part, just to get it fairing, I've just used some bicouplers to separate them from the bicoupler here. I put them both in the same stage here. As you can see, stuff here is exploding, and sometimes that can create problems, so you should probably wait a bit until you are, or you just can fire up your enemies and go. Do it like that, and you will be safe. So what I want to demonstrate what problems it can create, even that we are at 100,000 meters here. So if I do a very expensive Eve transfer of 1900 here, so I will get a burn time with 7 minutes. So let's execute this maneuver, and I will show the problem right here, what can happen. So let's extend this stuff here, and remember the reaction wheels. So they are active. Okay, so let's point ourselves into the maneuver. We are currently, our maneuver is right here, and as you can see here, so we need to start burning now. But if I start burning now, we will see what's happening around 100,000 meters here. And if we speed up the whole process a bit, you will see the problem with the low thrust ratio here. We are getting closer and closer to going right into Kerbal here. So now we are right inside the atmosphere, and our mission has already failed. So that's why you need a 200,000 meters orbit, or 250, I think I would place it, because that will create that problem, and then you kind of screw. What you can do is some people, I think the real space people, I just read about in Wikipedia, I think India sent a probe to Mars, and what they did was kind of burn for 2 minutes here, and the reason their apogees in turns here. So then it went all around and burn again, and this is a very fuel efficient way to do it, but I'd rather stay around 250,000 meters and just do it one long burn. So yeah, that was everything for this episode, as always. Let's see if we can break something before we quit the episode here. Okay, we're about to go right into the atmosphere, so let's see. Let's quit the episode with that. And soon we are inside. We are already in the atmosphere, and the atomic engines are awful for. They are completely awful for being inside the atmosphere. As you can see here, I'm breaking my speed bit here. I just want to see everything burn. I want to see what's happened. After all, I think I want to do my future buildings like this, that I build something and then I will show you what test I made and how I made it. I think it's more fun than just see me build something like Lego, but now we see what we do here. So we are 8,000 meters, so we are still not in the very hot thing. So I want to see how the atmosphere crashes up. I'm just trying to speed off. We're going for speed here already. Okay, so things are about to explode. We are 40,000 meters in the air, so, and we have everything extended, but this one. I'm surprised that our solar panels has survived so far. So yeah. We are a comet now. It's a comet simulation, a Kerbal comet. Okay, something broke. I'm surprised how well everything is working still. Okay, something exploded. To 25,000 meters. We're still breaking our speed here. Wonder if we can save him if we decouple our transfer part here. Okay, it's total failure simulation here. And I think it's not a problem for us here. We are actually quite steep into the atmosphere and falling fast here, but it will not be a problem for us to save our science pod here. We can see our transfer interplanetary transfer parties over there. So yeah, he will be surviving here, but let's see what. Let's just go crazy. Okay, it wasn't such a cool crash that I hoped for, but that's what we got. Okay, that was everything. Thank you for watching.